All right, guys, so in the last video, we created our function to fetch data. And by the way, I just put some comments here saying to register your key at this URL and to only use this for development or small projects and so on. But yeah, so we were able to fetch the data, put the popular movies on the home page with the title, release date, image. Now I want to do the same for TV shows, but one other thing I want to add to this fetch API data function is the ability to show the spinner and hide the spinner. So that means we need to create two additional functions. So let's go right below it and let's say function show spinner. Now I believe I showed you on the not just the index page, but any page where we're fetching data, there's a div with the class of spinner, and if we add the class of show, then it shows. It gives it this overlay and shows the spinner. So we basically want to toggle that, state from our JavaScript. So let's say in show spinner, we'll say document dot, and let's say query selector, and it has a class of spinner. And then we want to add the class of show. So let's say class list dot add, and we want to add the class of show. Okay, so now we'll just copy this down, and then let's call this one hide spinner. And all we're going to do here is then remove that class of show. So right here we can say remove. So now in our fetch function, right before we make our request, so right here we're going to call show spinner, and then once the data is actually fetched, before we return it, we're going to call hide spinner. So now if I save that, and let's see what the hell's going on here. Carry property class list. Oh, I forgot the dot, because these are classes. Okay, so you saw that spinner just flashes on the screen while the data is fetching. And you don't have to have that. It's just, I like it. It just lets the user know what's going on, that the data is being fetched. I mean, it's pretty quick, but for people on slow connections, it might not be so quick. So it's good to have. Now, to get the TV shows, we're going to do something very similar to what we did in the last, that's almost at the last episode, the last video. So this display popular movies, I'm going to actually just copy this function. And we're going to go right underneath it, and let's paste it in, and we're going to say display 20 most popular TV shows, and we're going to call it display popular shows. Now, as far as the endpoint here, that's going to change to, let me just check what the endpoint is for this. What is, oh, it's TV popular. So instead of movie, it's TV/popular. And then we're going to get the results. We're going to loop through, and we're pretty much going to do the same thing. We're going to create the div with the class of card, and then we're going to have a link. Now instead of calling this movie, let's call it show, so it actually makes sense. And then this is going to go to TV-details, and then this is going to be the show ID. And then the show poster path, and let's just check this out. So this is going to be the show poster path. Same size, all this stuff can stay the same. For the alt, let's actually grab this, all these movie.titles. We're going to change that to show.name. Okay, when it's a show, it's called a name. When it's a movie, it's a title. And I know this because, just in case some of you are confused about this, I know that because of the response, right? If we look at the response here, this is a movie, it has a title, right? If we go to TV and we go to the popular endpoint and we look at an example of a response, we have a name. Okay, so your code is going to reflect whatever that data API returns. So we have our show name, and then instead of a release date, let's see right here, I don't believe it's a release date. It should be an air date. So there's a first air date. Is that what I want? Yeah, that's what we want, the first air date. So right here, instead of release, let's say air date, and we're going to change this to show, and then change this to first underscore air underscore date. And I think that's it. Then down here, we just want to grab the ID of popular shows and then append that div. Now where we call this is going to be down here in shows HTML. So right here, instead of console logging shows, let's call display popular shows. So this function is not going to get called if we're on the index page, but if we go to TV shows, then it's going to be called, but I bet they're underneath all these. Yeah, so we just have to clear these hard-coded ones out. So let's go to shows.html and then get rid of, inside popular shows, you want to get rid of all these divs with the card class. So this popular shows div ends right here, so everything inside of it we're going to just get rid of. It's all dummy data. So all that. Okay, so I'll save. And there we go. So we'll just make this a little bigger to make sure it looks good. So it gives us 20 of the top shows. All right, cool. So pretty easy. Now, the next thing I want to do is get the movie details. So if I click on a specific movie, I want to get the details and show the backdrop, the poster path, all the info that we can get for a single movie. So we'll do that next.